Hello everybody, welcome to the cabin. Welcome back to Commonwealth. Flipper, we've got a great day of sales, sort of. Nothing jumps off the page as like insane amount of money, but there's over $700 headed out of here today. Actually quite a bit more because I forgot we have a Poshmark sale as well. 25 items, so it doesn't look like anything just massive. But you know, I've got a great topic and I'm gonna try to weave it throughout this video, and I want your feedback because it came off of 2 videos ago where a lot of folks were chiming in about a topic that I have always wanted to talk about, but I never have. It's the dark underbelly of reselling and some controversial ways of sourcing. I want to talk about those a little bit. Let's take a look. And like I said, we're going to weave it through this whole video. We'll do a couple sales and then talk about it a little bit, and then maybe one more sale and talk about it a little bit. I figured I would, so I didn't forget, I'd grab this Poshmark sale first. And this Dutch oven here, I guess it is a club aluminum. You guys may recognize this. They come in different colors. Blue is the one I like to find. And it's in decent shape. And that one's sold on Poshmark, $34 plus shipping. And that reminds me, of course, thank you to the folks who have decided they want to go with some cross-listing and have decided to go with List Perfectly and have used code Commonwealth. We do appreciate that. We're getting closer to that giveaway. When we hit 50, we're going to give away a GoPro that I used to make my first videos. In the meantime, Shad Juice's drawer. By the way, y'all want to check out a great channel. And this guy's the real deal, man. He finds crazy good stuff. Go check out Shad Juice's channel. He released a video not long ago, and he hadn't done it in a long time. Batman stickers. I don't know which one sold, but let me look. I'm going to show you these awesome stickers in a second and tell you who bought them, tell you how much they paid. But what I meant by he's the real deal is, what I mean by that, and I'm not saying people who don't do this aren't the real deal, but he goes out and he's beating the bushes down. He goes to the flea markets, he goes to the thrift stores, he goes to garage sales, you know, the traditional forms of sourcing. He, you know, looks at Facebook, which I unfortunately just can't do much of around here. There is just very, very little. Every once in a while, something pops up. If you live in a populated area, that is a huge place to source. Tell me in the comments if you source using Facebook or even Craigslist. That's where Craigslist Hunter got his name, if you remember. And putting advertisements out there about buying stuff. So that's one way to source. But we're going to talk about some ways that are unconventional ways of sourcing, some ways that are very debatable that get a lot of resellers riled up. We're going to talk about that today. I listed this type of sticker not too long ago. I got them last year at a North Carolina garage sale when I was down there visiting some family. And these were in a lot. He gave them to me really cheap. These are the Batman ones. I sold the rock and roll ones, you know, the skull and crossbone type stuff. These are from the 90s. You used to get them, if you remember, out of a vending machine. You push the little thing and the card would come out and you figure out what sticker you get. And this is DC Comics. And these 3 right here sold for $13.30 plus shipping. Now that I look at it, it looks like it's free shipping. So, you know, but I'm into those for maybe 75 cents. So it's a little bit of money. Hey, this is from Michael. Michael, thank you. He says, if I come across a Big Bird hat, he'd like to buy it. I got a Big Bird. I haven't listed it yet. It's a sweet vintage Big Bird. You'll see it coming up in a video. And I really like it. It's one where you pull the cord and it talks. You know, it's kind of an old one. Any rate, he says he likes the history lessons behind certain items. See, I could have done a history lesson behind vending machines. Maybe I'll do that someday. I do those top 10 videos. So far, we've done the cereal one and we've done the Cabbage Patch. Maybe I'll do one about vending machine, you know, bolos or something like that. Who knows? Any rate, Big Bird's Marketplace is the name of the store. I like that. Big Bird's Marketplace. Thanks so much, Michael. Appreciate it. This first one right here isn't, I thought it was going to be controversial. I was even afraid to put this out on a video because I source like this. And I'm like, are people going to hate me for doing this? I put it on my small channel a year and a half ago. It's the first video that kind of popped on that channel. And it was the lost and found sourcing method. It was the golf course lost and found method. Turned out nobody complained. So I could have put it on this channel, I suppose. Or better yet, the Commonwealth Picker channel, because it was a picking video. I pulled this out earlier because I knew it'd be hard to find. This little golf club head cover came from the Lost and Found sale, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. And it didn't sell for much, but, you know, whenever we do these golf club head cover ones, we try to get at least 10 bucks. We're processing the heck out of them, going through super quick, and you're listing them really quick, pictures really quick. So it's $5 in 5 minutes. I'll take it. And it's, what did it sell for? $10.99 free ship. Not only was it really not controversial, I got a lot of positive feedback for saying thank you. I never thought of this. And not about just golf courses, but anywhere. Most places have a lost and found. I learned that, well, I thought about it for the first time as a teacher, because at the end of the year, there's always a lost and found in school, right? And at the end of the year, they would set everything out and they would say, hey, you know, drop by lost and found. If you haven't, you know, claimed anything, it's going to be gone, because you just can't keep accumulating it. It just gets overwhelming. And teachers knew where that room was, and they'd put stuff in there. By the end of the year, it was overflowing, and they would go in there and at the end of the year clear it out. And so at the end of the year, I'm like, well, what do y'all do with this stuff? They're like, oh, we just drop it off at, you know, whatever. I don't know if they said Goodwill specifically, but the thrift store, they just drop it off. I'm like, okay. And one of the janitors told me one time they don't even drop it off, they just chuck it. And I think the janitors probably go through it as well. At any rate, I don't know that for sure, but my guess is that they do, and that'll kind of tie into what we're talking about a little bit. And I said, would it be okay if I looked through it? And sure enough, I'd find things. I'd find, you know, North Face jacket, or I'd find something that was worth selling every single year, and I'd bring it home and I'd sell it. And that was days after school got out, when the teachers were still there. And so it got me thinking, when I would find club head covers out in the wild, I'm like, you know what? I got a buddy who works at a golf course, so I started calling a couple different golf courses and sourcing their lost and found. But we did it in the dead of winter, when nobody was there, nobody had claimed this stuff for months and months. They've got to clean it out, and I'd go pick it up. Not only would I just pick it up, I would pay for it. And so the golf course was getting something out of it. And I'd do that at school as well. They had a couple, I was head of the National Honor Society at school, and so there'd be different little charitable organizations. I used to buy from an organization called Mercy Care at my school. They would actually call me in and be like, hey, you know, can we get a little bit more money for this? You know, is this something you could resell? And I'd pay up for the stuff, and I would resell it. Sometimes I even did consignment for them because it was a charity, and we'd do it that way. And so to me, that's not the dark underbelly, selling, you know, used or not used, selling lost and found items. But there's been a lot of people that have talked to me and said they go talk to their own businesses, their own companies, I should say, that they work for, and they've been asking. We have a friend that owns a business, and we get called in once a year to go clean out their lost and found. There's usually not much there, but there's a little bit, and we sell it off. I'm in the cabin, so somebody figures it out every time. Treat time. All right, let me go get the next item. I think it's over here. Last episode, I thought we had sold the last sign, but actually this was the last sign, other than the one I kept. And these are headed out of here for $14.95 plus shipping. It's a cool little metal sign, you know, you don't have to make those signs up all the time. Put them out if you're having a garage sale or something, like that one. What got me thinking about this topic was a comment that a viewer made on the video from last week, where we were talking a little bit about thrift stores and ruining thrift stores and all that. And they said that they were a former Goodwill employee, and that the fact of the matter is that the high dollar, the really good stuff, is taken out before it hits the floor, for not just the reasons we all think, because Goodwill is reselling, but a lot of employees are taking it out of there themselves. And I know this to be true from two personal accounts. I used to talk to my wife all the time. I'm like, you know how much money we could make if we had an inside man at Goodwill? And she's like, what are you going to do, bribe him? I'm like, hey, there are people, I guarantee you out there, who are doing backdoor deals, backroom deals, I should say, at the Goodwill. Not just the Goodwill. I should point out and pick out the Goodwill all the time, but I guarantee you it's going on. Matter of fact, I have talked to resellers myself who have said they grease the skids a little bit with Goodwill employees or thrift store employees in order to get the good stuff. Had to go inside to grab this Yamaha receiver, $55.30 plus shipping. Went inside to get that receiver, and I picked up some strays. As a matter of fact, I remember, you know, I've been doing this a long time. I was going into Goodwill's 22 years ago to look for stuff to sell on eBay. And back then, you'd go in there and you'd find video games. You'd find stuff all over the place. And people, you know, as the years went by, you know, what happened to the video, what happened to whatever. And, you know, the rumors used to be that the employees would take them before they ever got out there at that point. Well, I'm not so sure that's true. They might have been sorting back then and pushing stuff different directions. But it is certainly true that that stuff is harder to find these days. Although some of it makes it to the shelves in some places, just with higher prices. Sold some Animaniacs that I can't find, which doesn't happen very often around here, but instead of me continuing to look for them, I'm going to wait till the finder-in-chief gets home and have her help me so I don't waste 10 minutes. see if I, there they are. Got these Beats headphone cases, just case only, right here. Still sold for $9 plus shipping. I'm trying to read this comment over here, but somebody's laying down where I normally stand, so let me get like this. And look at this. This is Neil. Neil says, I'm so mad. I wanted to get one of those vintage metal signs. Well, you just missed by a few hours from when you bought this from when that was bought. I see Turner running this way right here. He probably can't find his glove for practice.
Hi again.
Are you just saying goodbye?
Yeah.
All right, bud. Did you find your glove?
Yeah, I found it.
Awesome. Have a good practice.
All right, bye.
I tell you what, I don't brag about my kids, but Turner is about the sweetest child I've met in my whole life, and I've taught a lot of kids. And Neil also looked like he bought some other stickers that we talked about last week, these high voltage stickers. I'm going to grab a few of these. I think there's, I don't remember how many. I better get them out and look real quick. They don't sell for much, but we had multi-quantity. All told with these two orders, somewhere around 15 bucks plus shipping on those. And Neil, I just saw he says you're looking forward to meeting you and the crew in Vegas. That's Dave and Carrie, American Arbitrage NC Picker, and the Trash to Cash guys. In a few weeks, the Enaman is going to, or excuse me, the Enaman is doing the trick. My store is on fire. See, scientifically proved. Buy an Enaman and your store goes, okay, maybe not fire, but doing really well since picking up the Enaman. 2 thumbs up. Take care, Neil. Neil, thank you. And one of the beauties of selling things online, especially on eBay, is you can sell personal items. And that's what I did right here. I sold my old shaver because my folks got me a new one, and now I can't find it, of course. Whoop, there it is right there. I saw it. This one right here. Used it for years and years and years and years, and then my folks got me a new one, and I'm like, well, this thing's still good, and I'm gonna sell it $15 plus shipping. Speaking of personal items, here's another one I've heard people complain about. The estate sale industry, they say, and it's just different. I know some estate sale people who are terrific people who treat their customers right and allow everybody to have a fair opportunity at things. But there are a lot of estate sale companies who have their special people come in long before and they're cherry picking all the good stuff. They're getting a premium. I mean, it's not, I don't know. You tell me, is this terrible or not? You know, if you own a estate sale company and you have these people who know certain items and, you know, you bring them all in and they clear out all the good stuff at a good price. But at the same time, they're helping you price things out and stuff like that. I don't know. Let me tell you, depending on where you're at, the estate sale business could have a great name or a terrible name. There's a lot of shady stuff that goes on in that industry, and then there are a lot of good people as well. So let me know what you think about that. And I've done this, actually. There's a lady I know. Matter of fact, you should check out her channel, if I can remember what the channel is. Renovative Home, I think. Anyway, she is awesome. She puts out good content as well. And she does estate sales. She does mostly high-end stuff. And every once in a while, there's stuff she's like, I'm just going to bundle this stuff together. And she's like, you want to take a look at it before we get rid of it or whatever. And, you know, that kind of stuff is awesome. I'm appreciative of that. I think a lot of pickers out there have those kind of connections where, you know, stuff's going to head out the door or something. And you can make a good pickup or two. I think those are good connections. I don't think that's shady, but I do think there is a lot of business in the estate sale business where everything's not quite upfront and transparent. Speaking of the Enaman and getting sales moving, we sold one of those today. Sold one. I'm going to grab this one that came in the other day, if you remember that episode. And that's already got all the stickers and stuff in it. When we sell these, we sell all of our stickers in it and put them all in there and all the other stuff that goes with it. So let's head it out of here. And it's headed out of here to Charles. So happy to have won the bid on the Enaman. I have 470 items listed, and things have been slow lately, and hoping this will boost my sales. I've also purchased a Tennessee shirt the other day. I remember that. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. Was wondering if I could combine shipping. I would say yes, but we've already shipped it out. Sorry. Thank you for all you do and the inspiration you give us. Resellers don't officially have a store yet, but hopefully soon. At 470 items, I think it's time. So, you know, the number is different for different folks, but I think 470 is pretty safe to say you're going to be better off getting a store if you continue to do this long term. If it's not a long-term plan, then maybe not. So thanks again. God bless. Bubble bucks if possible, please. Yeah, we'll definitely give you some bubble bucks right here. Thanks to Joel. Appreciate it. Got this one just the other day at a private pick. And I hear a lot of people get upset about private picks. It just depends, I suppose. Let's talk about that. Got this with my buddy Eric, OBX Picker. Sing a song of sixpence. Man, you think kids hear this stuff today? So few, right? I guess they did a little bit on the old Barney stuff. But that one sold $10.95 plus shipping, really fast. In the YouTube world, I've heard folks complain. This isn't really a complaint I hear often, but it's a complaint about YouTubers. That you get to go to these private picks where nobody else can. I know that for a fact isn't true. I don't do a lot of them because my channel is more about garage sale picking. Plus, it's a passion of mine. I just absolutely love it. Love picking garage sales. But I'll do a private pick from time to time. I maybe do 3 or 4 or 5, maybe a year. Maybe I'd like to do a little bit more every now and again, depending on the pick. But my buddy Eric, OBX Picker, called me up the other day. Said, "Come on down here." He's like, "There's a lot of great stuff. Don't take all the good stuff, but you can have the stuff that you pick, and I'll take the stuff that I pick." So I was looking for this kind of stuff, cool stuff, you know, and there's a lot of high dollar stuff in there that he was picking out of there. Labor intensive kind of stuff, big money. And I'm like, I was happy to let him have that since he invited me. I was his guest. But let me tell you, if you start to seek out these private picks, now how do you do that? Well, you start telling people what you do, telling people around you what you do. Handing out a card to people and saying, "Hey, if you know anybody, you know, give them my card, give them extra cards," and that kind of stuff. And then you will eventually, somewhat, every once in a while, find one of these opportunities. And when they pay off big time. Sold a Curious George plush right here. Wish I sold the Sonic. That one's cool. And I wouldn't suggest picking these up necessarily, but this one was really super small, and it's a beanie one. It's got beans in it. You know, it's got a little weight to it. And it was free, so $10 plus shipping. Just realized that this sale from before to Neil, he was the one that asked for a Bubba autograph. And we always have Reagan. People always ask for Reagan, so here's the Bubba and Turner. Bubba. Bubba. He actually signed one the other day. I don't know what this is from. I swear there was a full signature of one. Maybe he's just messing around, which wouldn't surprise me. Oh well, you get Bubba. There you go. All right, I've saved a couple that I know are going to get people riled up here for last. This one and the next one. So this one right here is one that I hear people complain about often, and it's the folks who are scouring Facebook, scouring the garage sale things, you know, for all the garage sales that are coming up in the next couple of days, whether it's you're in a place where they have them on Wednesdays. I don't know, weird people up north, you know, Minnesota. And we only have them on a little bit on Friday, and we have them on Saturday, and then once in a blue moon, since we're in the Bible Belt, on a Sunday. But people have them different times around the country. And they'll call in advance. They'll send messages, you know, they'll see a picture, and they'll go over there beforehand so that even when you're the early bird, you know, you show up, you know, 15 minutes before the thing starts, you know, and all the stuff that's in that listing is gone. And there's, oh, somebody came by yesterday and bought it. There's people out there like that. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people listening to me right now that you're those people. I'm not going to criticize you here. I'm going to let the people in the comments criticize you or argue for what you're doing here. I'm not making a moral judgment because, you know, you got to hustle out there, and those folks are out there hustling. It's not my style, but let me tell you, if the opportunity arose for just an absolute like motherload kind of deal, and, you know, you had to do that to do it, boy, it would be tough not to do it. So tell me what you think of that in the comments below. Got this cool little butter knife the other day at sale, and I think there was a mistake in a listing. I think it was supposed to be plus shipping, and we did it without plus shipping. I didn't list this one, but I've been listing a lot lately. I've been proud of myself, y'all. I've been getting up every morning and trying to get 10 in before I do much of anything. And this little, what do they call them? Perlite handles. I can't even get it open. Hold on. Here we go. This little butter knife. Sold for $9.50. Right there. It's kind of cool. And, you know, maybe should have been $9.50 plus shipping because it sold super fast. Sold something back here that I used to love to sell, but they don't sell very quick, and I just basically don't pick them up anymore. Boppets used to be pretty, especially during the pandemic, boy, people would buy them, and then they got kind of saturated, you know. At any rate, this one sold for $19 free shipping, so, you know, there's not much money in it, but I glad it's gone. Speaking of motherload sales, the once in a lifetime sale, one of the best ones we've ever been to before. This is where this is from. And after I'm done showing you this one, I'm going to talk about the very last type. This is the Ice House can. I think this is it right here. I think there's only one. I'll have to double check, but I'm going to talk about the next one that I think will get people riled up. This one sold 30% off clearance for this Ice House inflatable can, and it sold for $19.60 plus shipping. Just looking at these sales here, we had some high dollar ones kind of mixed in there yesterday, but I guess there's a $55, what was this, $30, $20. Not real high-end, high-priced stuff. There's a $40 one here in a minute, and then there's, what else do we got? Well, we got the Enaman. That's always a high dollar sale. Here's a decent little sale for a record. Steely Dan, pretty darn good condition. I love the colors on that. It's really awesome. And that one sold for $29 plus shipping. I'll take that for a record. Next one I heard, and I just didn't believe it, but then I started to do my research. I started to do some local research and found out that it is very true. And I was a little bit surprised. So, you ever seen these metal things around town that says drop-off donation? We used to have one at my high school, that group I talked about earlier, Mercy Care. I think they had 2 of them, and people drop stuff off, and then there'd be a yard sale at our school, and then they'd raise money, and they'd use it for the organization, and they'd send it to a sister city in Africa, and the money would get sent over there. Anyway, I went around, I started looking, because there used to be one, you know, we're out in the sticks, so there's no, well, there is now, thank goodness. But there wasn't until just a while ago. Trash pickup, right? You just had to go to the locations and dump your trash. And there was one there. People would drop stuff off there. There was one in town. I saw a few and scattered throughout the county. And I looked at them one day because of what I had heard. And it says right there, I can't remember the name of it, but it was ostensibly a charity, right? To drop off in these little metal boxes, big metal boxes. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I thought, you know, who's getting this stuff? And it's very vague on the box itself as to who's getting it and what the charity is. And essentially what it said, I'm going to paraphrase it, is that they're, you know, I don't know, how should I put it? Let's say the charity was preserving the earth, okay? And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, these people are basically saying here, because you're recycling this stuff and it's not going into the landfill, remember, it's at a landfill over here, that the charity itself is the actual recycling of it. And what happens to it after that isn't necessarily known. And so I've come to find out that what happens to it after that is mass sorting and selling of the merchandise. Now, I don't know, that's not to say every single one of these metal boxes is like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that it does happen out there, and people are sifting it, they're dividing it, they're selling it off, they're transporting it to different locations and selling it off. They're selling it in bulk, they're selling it overseas, and there is no specific charity attached to many of these. Not all of them, but many. Here's a nice little sale right here. Bought this just about 2 weeks ago and just got it listed. Paid $10 for this Ab Roller Evolution. It sold for $50 just like that, plus shipping. While I was in there, I figured I'd grab these matches that sold as well. Not just that, 15 bucks for those right there. Put them in an 8x6x4 box from SupplyHut, SupplyHut.com. Code Commonwealth, 5% off if you're in need of any supplies. And wanted to thank Alexander, I think it is, for buying plans for the Commonwealth Picker shipping table on CommonwealthPicker.com. Maybe I can convince Dave and Carrie Trash to Cash to go in and buy some of those metal boxes out there. Get those big ones. We'll set them up all over the place. We'll make a bunch of money on them, and we'll throw a party, and all of you will be invited once a year. What do you think? Should we do it? I don't think I could. Oh, I don't know. Maybe if we just printed that right on the thing. I think people would still drop stuff off, don't you think? Just put Trash to Cash. All proceeds go to a giant party once a year in Vegas or whatever. I bet people would still donate. What do you think? Versace Bright Crystal. That was 20 bucks, I think, on that one. And I need to get more boxes, y'all. I need to get, let's see. I got the 4x4x4. Let's see. I think I have the 5x5x5 back here. People ask me where I store all my stuff sometimes. And I'm like, well, if you've been around the show long enough, you see it. By the way, our auction lots are going. We're doing like one auction of each of the comic books. I guess you haven't seen that video yet. We had a big comic book buy. All right, if I fall off of this, tell my wife I love her. All right, here we go. I joke like that, and then one day, catastrophe hits, right? There's the 5x5x5. We'll put them over here. I'm the only one who resupplies this thing. I shouldn't complain. My wife ships. I better just shut up and be grateful, right? Put them right there. Can you think of any other ways of sourcing out there that kind of get y'all riled up and get you angry? I'm sure I could if I think about it a little bit longer. Now I got to step over this ladder I just put in my way. Let me grab this. This one right here was you might remember this, at the 100 mile yard sale last year. I picked this up with a few buddies, and it's a quarter for anything, and I looked at that one. I'm like, that thing's kind of cool. I thought a viewer bought this, and if you are a viewer, James, thank you, but I don't see a message on here. And that one right there, James Gould. Look at that, maybe it's the same James. Nope, different last name. And those are cool little parakeets. Is that what they are, parakeets? I like that one a lot. And that was sold for 25 bucks. Plus shipping. And Elizabeth bought 2 ET pins. Got the Elliott pin and the Flower Power pin. And for that price, there must be a double here. Hold on. Nope, I just read the price wrong. $11.99 plus shipping. All right, y'all, there's been a few minutes between the last clip and this clip because I could not find this thing. Could not find it. So I had to call Bubba's girlfriend in here, and she helped me find it. And she thinks I'm a dummy and thinks that I should go back to Reselling 101. Which one was it in?
The third row, the first one.
This one? Third row?
Yeah.
Right here? Mm-hmm. Or this one?
The middle one.
The middle one, Florida. See, it was all the way back there. I must have dug through this. I dug through each one. Most of the time I remember where things are, and it's like, okay, I might dig through a few bins. I dug through every bin 3 times. Couldn't find it. She came in and found it just like that. And we got another sale here, and what is it? We sold, oh, it's over here. We sold a pin, and we sold this pin. Nope, not that one. You think I'd remember these, right? Sold that pin right there, and it went to a viewer. This one went to Edwin. Boy, sales just keep coming in today. And this one, Edwin says, the video about rich kids ruining thrifting, which we put out last week, he says it's so inaccurate. Not that I was inaccurate, but the article was inaccurate. We are low-income family store, so they have their own store, and we don't feel robbed by bigger eBay sellers. We are still able to find quality items. I actually love that thrifting and secondhand is getting more popular because this helps small stores like ours have more traffic and also helps with keeping quality items out of landfills. Okay, there you go. So Edwin, thank you. I appreciate it, and thank you. You can thank Bubba's girlfriend for helping me find that Nemo plush. All right, y'all, we actually packed up everything, shipped it, got it out of here. I went to go eat with Uncle John for dinner, and sales just kept flowing in. Let's take a look at these. I just pulled most of them really quick. Today's been a crazy day of sales. Yesterday was a crazy day of sales as well. And you already saw all that stuff that we did earlier, but today it just kept coming in, so I figured we'd get it all out of here. We're approaching $1,000 headed out of here today. 2 days worth of sales, 2.5 days worth of sales. That one right there sold for $29 plus shipping. Marine Corps Recruit Depot. These were free at a sale. They were giving away books. I'm like, well, I'll take it. $45 plus shipping on the Emerson DVD VCR combo. Had this ET pin right here, $8 plus shipping. Sold this Daisy Dream right here, $15 plus shipping. You see it is not very full at all. And wanted to give a thank you to Mook's Treasure Trove. Chris, thank you. Look at all these sealed VHS he sent, man. This is cool too, by the way. Irvine Ranch, California, not too far from my own stomping grounds. These right here, these I pulled out pretty immediately thinking, because he said, you know, keep it for your collections, sell them, whatever. And I pulled these out because I don't think I want these. I don't think I'm going to keep these at all. I don't think, now that I'm looking at them maybe, but I think I'm not going to. This is kind of cool. Paul McCartney live at the Cavern Club. Probably put that in my booth. Miracle on 34th Street. There's Sinatra. I'll probably keep these two for sure. Scrooge, I love Bill Murray. And then Frosty, sealed. Neither have any, you know, major value. I just think they're cool. So I'm probably keeping those. I have one of these, but it might not be this one. And I don't know. I'll think about that one. So just to give you an idea. Value for these, and I'm not insulting you, Chris, here. You know this already. None of these are extremely valuable, but to me, this is, and to me, this is. And you never know, there's certain things you got to look for out there. And we'll talk about those on later videos. Or you got to just find what you love. And I love these two, and I'm going to keep those. This is something, you will see this every once in a while. FHE, Family Home Entertainment. And there are some of these that have some value. But this one isn't one of them. That's a great cover, by the way. Look at that. So, Mook's Treasure Trove. Check them out on YouTube and on Instagram right there. Thanks so much. And that Camp Pendleton book actually went to Julie. She said her dad was a Marine and was at Camp Pendleton for a time and used to share stories of it with her. So he says, I'm sure he would have loved the book and looking through it. So that's awesome. Thank you very much, Julie. I appreciate it. All right, y'all, we are out here in the Supply Hut. By the way, people have asked about the mini split. Mini split's been working pretty well. By the way, we are also going to start decorating very soon. I've got stuff in the works, I promise. People are like, it's pretty bare in there and there's an echo, so we're going to try and deal with it by putting more stuff in here. It's not particularly clean, but we like it. By the way, don't forget Supply Hut. Thank you to Charlie. If you're new to the channel, Supply Hut paid for part of this shed, as did Brian Klaus, as did a whole bunch of other people right here out there in the audience. So thank you to everybody out there. And I've got 2 more sales because I got kicked out of the cabin because apparently we've got stuff to do tonight and I'm not going fast enough for everybody. So here are the 2 sales that I got kicked out of there for before I could film them. And they would normally be in the eBay cave, but that's a mess too because we're kind of turning it into a Turner video game room so we could kick them out of the other part of the basement, but that's not working out well either. That Tommy Hilfiger sweater right there sold for $15 plus shipping, and this was Bubba's actually, and it sold for $10 plus shipping right there. So there's a couple of sales. Thank y'all for joining us. Don't forget to leave your comments below on some shady sourcing practices by fellow resellers. Thank you for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next.